Have you ever wondered why, despite all your efforts, true peace and fulfillment seem elusive? We live in a world filled with distractions, desires, and fleeting pleasures. But deep down, we know that something is missing, something that would bring true clarity and calm. What if I told you that it's not about what you need to add to your life, but rather about what you need to remove? There are 6 habits that are holding you back. 6 habits that are fundamentally anti-stoic. They prevent you from experiencing the tranquility and purpose that Stoicism teaches us to strive for. Today, we will uncover each of these habits, one by one, and reflect on how eliminating them could transform your life. Stay with me as we explore these truths. By the end, you may find the clarity you've been searching for. 1. Stop being a slave to your desires. What does it mean to be truly free? Many of us think that freedom comes from being able to do what we want when we want. But as Seneca said, "He is a slave. Show me someone who is not a slave." These words challenge us to look deeper. Are you free if you are constantly chasing after pleasures, recognition, or status? Or does this constant pursuit mean that you are enslaved to your desires? Stoicism teaches us that real freedom comes from self-mastery. It's about having control over your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. When was the last time you found yourself giving in to a craving, a temptation, or a fear? How often do you feel like you're not in control of your life, but rather that something else, some desire, is pulling the strings? For example, you might find yourself constantly checking your social media, craving the validation of likes and comments. But ask yourself, does this bring you lasting satisfaction or just a fleeting sense of worth? If you're honest, you might realize that the satisfaction is temporary and leaves you wanting more. This is the nature of being a slave to your desires. It's a cycle that never truly fulfills. Stoicism offers a way out of this cycle. It reminds us that the path to freedom lies in mastering our desires, not in letting them rule us. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not a master of himself. This doesn't mean denying yourself all pleasure, but rather developing the discipline to choose wisely and to know when enough is enough. Imagine what your life could look like if you were free from these chains, if you could enjoy pleasures without becoming dependent on them, if you could pursue your goals without needing the approval of others. How would your daily experience change? How much more energy would you have to focus on what truly matters to you? The truth is, self-mastery is not easy. It requires daily reflection and discipline. But the rewards are immense. When you begin to resist the pull of desires that do not serve you, you start to reclaim your mind. You begin to act according to your values, not your impulses. And this, my friends, is the essence of Stoicism, learning to align your actions with your principles, not with passing whims. As you reflect on this, ask yourself, what are the desires that have the strongest hold over me? In what areas of my life am I not truly free? And most importantly, what steps can I take today to start loosening those chains? Recognizing this is just the beginning. Next, we'll explore another habit that keeps many of us trapped: the tendency to cling emotionally to the past. It's time to let go and move forward with a clearer mind. 2. Stop emotionally clinging to the past. Why do we hold on to the past so tightly? For many, it is a source of identity, a place where our mistakes and regrets linger. But Stoicism teaches us that true peace comes from letting go, both physically and emotionally. The past is like a weight that, if carried too long, only serves to drag us down. Have you ever felt the pain of reliving an old mistake, replaying it over and over in your mind? If so, you are not alone. But ask yourself, does this dwelling change anything? The Stoics believed in accepting the past as it is, unchangeable and beyond our control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." These words challenge us to stop fixating on past mistakes and instead focus on who we are right now and who we can become. It's not about ignoring the past, but about learning from it without being haunted by it. When we emotionally cling to mistakes or losses, we allow them to define us. We become the person who failed that exam, the person who was rejected, the person who made that one wrong decision. But are you truly that person, or are you something more? What if you could see your past not as a prison, but as a teacher? Every mistake holds a lesson, but once that lesson is learned, it is time to move on. Imagine what your life would be like if you could let go of the guilt and regret that weighs you down. Picture waking up each morning without the shadow of yesterday's mistakes hanging over you. This is what Stoicism offers, a chance to release yourself from the burden of the past and to embrace the present with a lighter heart. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. How much of your suffering comes from events themselves, and how much comes from the stories you continue to tell yourself about those events. Could it be that by changing your perspective, you could change your experience of life itself? Letting go is not easy. It requires courage to face our mistakes without letting them consume us. It requires humility to accept that we are imperfect, but it is also an act of self-compassion. The past is done. It cannot be changed. What matters is what you choose to do with the present. So, ask yourself, what mistakes am I still holding on to? What would it feel like to finally let them go? As you reflect on this, remember that each day is a new opportunity to live in alignment with your true self, unburdened by what came before. Having learned to release the past, let's now turn to another habit that holds many of us back: the habit of procrastination. It's time to take action and embrace the present fully. 3. Stop procrastinating, the thief of time. We all know the feeling. You have a task to do, but instead of starting it, you say, "I'll do it later." But how often does later turn into never? Procrastination is the enemy of progress, and it robs us of the opportunity to live fully in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius observed in his Meditations, "You could do something good today, but you choose to do it tomorrow." Why do we fall into this trap? Stoicism teaches us that time is our most precious resource. Once spent, it can never be recovered. And yet, how casually we give it away to trivial distractions. When we procrastinate, we deny ourselves the satisfaction of a job well done. We fill our minds with guilt, knowing that we are delaying what must inevitably be faced. Can rest truly be enjoyable when you know that you are neglecting your duties? Think of the times you have put off something important, be it a work project, a personal goal, or even a difficult conversation. Did postponing it make the task any easier? More often than not, it only adds to the anxiety, making the eventual task seem even more daunting. Stoicism encourages us to act without delay, not because the task is urgent, but because we are. We do not know how many days are left to us, and each moment of inaction is a moment lost forever. Consider this. How much time have you spent putting off tasks that could have been completed in a fraction of the time you spent worrying about them? What if, instead of saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," you decided to do it now? How would this simple change affect your life? One of the core tenets of Stoicism is the discipline of action. It is the realization that taking the first step, however small, is often the hardest part. But once that first step is taken, the momentum builds. The satisfaction of progress can be a powerful motivator, far more rewarding than the false comfort of procrastination. By overcoming procrastination, we also find greater joy in our moments of rest. When you have fulfilled your obligations, you can truly relax, knowing that you have earned it. There is a deep contentment that comes from living in harmony with your duties, from knowing that you are using your time wisely. So, as you watch this video, I encourage you to think about something you have been putting off. Why not take a small step toward it today? And if you find value in this reflection, stay with me as we explore more ways to free yourself from habits that hold you back. Each step you take now is a step toward a life of greater purpose and clarity. 4. Stop wasting time, a precious resource. Time is our most valuable asset, yet it's the one we often take for granted. We act as though our days will stretch on endlessly, but as Seneca pointed out, we complain that our days are few, but we act as if they were infinite. How often do you find yourself filling time with distractions, endlessly scrolling through your phone, or engaging in activities that add little value to your life? Are these moments truly bringing you closer to what matters? In Stoicism, time is regarded as a gift, something that, once gone, can never be reclaimed. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself daily that he could cease to exist at any moment. This was not meant to instill fear, but rather to keep his focus sharp on what truly mattered. How would your life change if you kept this awareness close at hand? If you acted each day as if it could be your last, would you spend it differently? Reflect on how you use your time. Do you find yourself postponing what truly matters, thinking that you'll have more time in the future? The truth is, there is no guarantee of that time. Stoicism encourages us to be fully present, to value each moment, and to spend it wisely. Imagine living without the illusion that you can put off meaningful work for later. How much more would you accomplish? How much richer would your life feel? We often let the idea of a future distract us from the present, but the future is uncertain and it's not within our control. What is within our control is how we spend our time now. What would you do if you knew that tomorrow was not promised? Would you still spend hours on trivial distractions, or would you focus on what truly matters to you? Stoicism teaches us that a good life is one where each day is lived with intention. It doesn't mean filling every moment with productivity, but rather being mindful about how you spend your time. Are you cultivating relationships that matter, pursuing your passions, and contributing to something larger than yourself? Or are you letting time slip through your fingers, lost to the void of meaningless activities? As you ponder this, I invite you to make a commitment to value your time as the precious resource it is. Begin by identifying one habit that wastes your time and let it go. Replace it with something that aligns with your values and your vision for your life. And if you're finding value in these reflections, stay with me as we explore more habits that, when removed, can transform your life. Now, let's shift our focus to another critical area, our relationship with anxiety. How much of your time is lost to worrying about what might happen rather than living in the present? 5. Stop letting anxiety control you. Anxiety is a common struggle, but have you ever asked yourself where it really comes from? Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Today I escaped anxiety, or no, I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside." Stoicism teaches that anxiety does not come from external events, but from the way we perceive those events. It is not the future itself that troubles us, but our thoughts about the future. How often do you find yourself worrying about things that may never happen? Think of a time when anxiety has consumed your thoughts, when the what-ifs took over. How much of that worry was rooted in reality, and how much was just your mind projecting fears onto the unknown? Stoicism encourages us to focus on what is within our control and to let go of what is not. The future is uncertain, yes, but what good does it do to allow that uncertainty to dominate your mind? Imagine if you could let go of your fears about tomorrow and focus only on what you can do today. What burdens would be lifted from your shoulders? how much more energy would you have to face the challenges that truly matter? Anxiety does not solve problems. It only makes them appear larger than they are. Stoicism teaches us to confront this by questioning our own thoughts, by asking ourselves, is this truly as bad as it seems? Or am I creating suffering through my own mind? One of the most practical aspects of Stoicism is the exercise of negative visualization, imagining the worst that could happen, not to dwell in fear, but to see that even the worst is often manageable. When you face your fears directly, they often lose their power. What is the worst that could happen in your current situation? And even if that came to pass, could you find a way to endure it, as you have endured so many challenges before? Reflect on your own life. How many times have you feared a situation only to find that when it actually arrived, it was not as terrible as you imagined? When you look back, do you see that you had the strength to handle it after all? Stoicism reminds us that we are stronger than we think, and that many of our fears are just shadows in our mind. If you find this perspective helpful, consider leaving a comment below. Share with us what you are currently struggling with and how you are working to overcome it. Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs on their journey. With anxiety in its place, let's turn our attention to a related habit that can limit our potential: the tendency to settle for less than we are capable of. 6. Stop settling for mediocrity. Why do we so often hold back from giving our best effort? Why do we settle for good enough when we have the potential to do something great? Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control the outcomes of our actions, we can always control the effort we put in. This is the essence of striving for excellence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This simple advice challenges us to hold ourselves to a higher standard. When you look back on your life, do you see moments where you could have given more, tried harder, or aimed higher? What kept you from doing so? Many of us are held back by the fear of failure, or by the belief that our efforts might go unrecognized. But, as Stoicism teaches, success is not always within our control. What is within our control is whether we put forth our best effort. When you choose to settle for mediocrity, you are choosing to deny your own potential. Imagine if, in every action you took, you aimed to give your very best. How would this change the quality of your work, your relationships, and your life? Wouldn't it feel better to know that, regardless of the outcome, you acted with integrity and gave everything you had? This is the Stoic path, to focus on doing your best, regardless of whether success follows. Ask yourself, what areas of my life am I currently settling in? What would it take for me to elevate my efforts, even if only by a small margin each day? Remember, striving for excellence is not about perfection. It's about a commitment to improve, to be better than you were yesterday. This habit, like all the others, is not easy to break. It requires daily attention and effort. But the rewards, a life of purpose, a sense of pride in your actions, are worth it. Let this reflection guide you as you strive to become the best version of yourself. With these thoughts, we reach the end of this exploration of 6 anti-Stoic habits. But the journey does not end here. How can you apply what we've discussed today? I encourage you to continue reflecting, to embrace the practice of Stoicism in your life, and to share your thoughts below. Now that we've explored these 6 habits that hinder a Stoic life, the choice is yours. Will you continue allowing these habits to hold you back? Or will you strive to replace them with practices that align with the principles of Stoicism? Remember, the journey towards a life of inner peace and resilience begins with small, consistent steps. If you found value in this discussion, I encourage you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who might benefit from these reflections. And if any of these habits resonate with you, leave a comment below. Your insights could inspire others on their journey. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of Stoic wisdom. May you walk forward with greater clarity, strength, and tranquility.